You ready?
I'm ready.
Meeting to order.
Okay.
The meeting of the Littlestown Area Board of School Directors. This is the live in-person meeting taking place in public in accordance with the Sunshine Act. Enter a comment and publicly in this meeting, you are consenting to the recording or retention of future hearings. This meeting is also being live streamed for the convenience of the public. In the event the live stream fails, or could not be transmitted for any reason, the in-person meeting will continue without interruption. Carrie, would you do a roll call, please?
Nick Lovell.
Here.
Carl Thompson.
Here.
Wayne Sullivan.
Here.
Stephen Yerger.
Here.
Mary Brenneman. Here. Danielle Brenneman. Here. Jeannie Ewan. Here. Janelle Russell. Here.
All rise for the pledge of allegiance and number of silence. And again, we'd like to recognize the several students that we lost and teachers over the last couple of months. Thank you. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, what's the public comment? On behalf of the Littlestown Area School Board, I'd like to welcome candidates. I got that one. Candidates on Ms. Bayless, such a simple position for us. I appreciate it. I know it's a little bit inconvenient for sudden timing, and I appreciate you switching your schedule. So thank you. All right. Everybody's been here for previous ones, so we're going to follow. I'll ask the question. We'll start off with Ms. Bayless. Well, question number one, Ms. Hutchinson will get number two, Mr. Perez. Then I'm going to double back, and then each one of them will be asked the same question, so it'll be 3 times the same. So, do you understand my confusion? Somebody explain to me. Ms. Bayless, what do you see the role of a board member is?
The role of the board member is supposed to make sure that the public funds are spent appropriately and that the superintendent does what he or she is supposed to do in regards to the contract. And also, the school board members are also supposed to make sure that overall the school academically, in all different categories, basically performs or at least attains a level of proficiency. So that's pretty much what it is. They're overseers. Basically, overseers. They don't run schools.
So the school board itself is a group of citizens that live within the community. They're there, they're part of it. They are elected and become part of a governing body, really, of the school district. They're working very closely with the superintendent, who sits on the board as a non-voting member, which is something that you see a lot. People as board trustees for nonprofits and other organizations and such. Their role, they have a couple key functions as a board member role, and that includes, overseeing, making sure we're meeting federal and state laws. We're meeting the levels of what students need to be able to do in terms of education. We're working closely to make sure the funds are appropriately utilized and utilized in a way that meets those needs. We're also, one of the key roles is to work with the superintendent or hiring and when necessary terminating superintendent. So it's a very important organization with each person having that important role. The other thing that I think that's really important with the school board, especially in a small community like ours, is to be that bridge to the community, to be out in the community where people can see you and talk to you and ask questions, get insight into what they're thinking and what they're feeling based on what's happening in the school system.
Mr. Burns?
Okay, well, the board, meaning still the board members and special staff, is Here on behalf of the community, they are been elected to come in and serve the community, to monitor the school, monitor the superintendent, make sure the school is providing good character building, good education, and spending the funds of the community properly. The board is there as a governing body to oversee all the elements of the school and maintain the high quality that we have. The high standard that we have established over the years. So, thank you all for your support.
All right. Change things up. Commercial break. Go ahead and tell us about Dublin. Tell us something.
Was this the second question?
No, this is
It's the introduction.
this is an introduction. I want to break it up so that there's a little bit of time for y'all to breathe and relax because that question. So you get it's your first commercial break to say, tell us something about Ms. Bayless that we don't know, that we don't read on a resume. Okay.
Okay, sure. So I've lived here in Littlestown for 7 years. I retired from Maryland and moved here and to retire and enjoy retirement. I am retired, enjoying retirement. And I spent 10 years in Frederick County on the school board there. I was a special education advocate for the board. Very much enjoyed it, learned a lot, did a lot of took a lot of classes and courses while I was there. Went to I went to 3 national school board conference classes for several days of those. Got involved with advocacy for public education. I was the legislative liaison to the board. That taught me a lot about education and about funding education, which is huge. Earlier this evening, you guys talked about honestly not getting your state funds in time of need. Totally understand all that. That's kind of built in, hopefully built into the budget, so it's a little cushion. That's one of the reasons why you guys have a cushion. I enjoy children. I enjoy education and I enjoy kids. And I'm very focused on special education. Herculean tutor. I spend a lot of time researching, reading, best practices for teaching reading. Just really interested in education, basically.
All right, questions? Next question.
Yeah, to go totally off the book, this is not anything that was in the papers you got.
Hold on.
Is that okay?
No, we're on to the questions. We're back to questions.
Oh, I'm back to questions. Oh, the commercial break. I'm sorry, I was
Each
not
one's
ready.
gonna get their own commercial break. Yeah, each one's gonna get their own
Okay,
commercial
I'm
break
excited.
to keep things a
Sorry.
little different. Keep things excited and give them the breathing time between the
Okay,
questions.
thank you.
All right? So, yeah.
My goodness.
At this point, Ms. Hutchinson, at this point, what is your understanding of the relationship should be between the Board of Education and the superintendent?
I see it as a partnership, a very collaborative relationship where you're learning from each other, you're listening and hearing what each person is saying, asking questions to get at what they're saying actually means. I found in my time working and just in life that a lot of times what people are saying or how you're perceiving what they're saying isn't actually what they mean. So the best thing you can do is to pause and to listen. And I see that as a key to being effective as part of any team. So I would take that into developing, a strong relationship with fellow board members as well as with the superintendent. Obviously, there's rules that, this governing authority, the board is making decisions. The superintendent's responsible for the day-to-day operations. So, there's that transition of work that occurs in the reporting back and everything. But I mean, just overall, it needs to be collaborative. I found that when I had the greatest success at work, in my volunteer world, nonprofit world, anywhere, it's when I collaborate and listen.
Mr. Burns?
The
Did you read the
school board,
question again?
was that,
Did you need to read the
No.
question? I apologize.
the school board, in conjunction with the superintendent, it should be some kind of a partnership. The school board basically has hired the superintendent as a individual that they feel they can work with to develop the school. The superintendent, although he may be highly educated and very intelligent, isn't one person. The board is many people that can reach out to the community and listen to what their needs are and bring it to the superintendent. The superintendent can see what the students need and what the needs of the school are and bring it to the board. And together, we develop a plan to help the school overall.
Thank you. Ms. Davis?
So, my experience in the years that I've been on school board in Maryland, we actually did 2 national superintendent searches, and we hired 2 superintendents, 2 interim superintendents as well. So I've been down this road several times. Basically, ideally, and I understand life is not always ideal, right? But ideally, it's supposed to be a team. You're supposed to work as a team. The board works with the superintendent as a team. And in the end, the board usually has the final say if issues become or rise to that level. But it's supposed to be teamwork, and there's supposed to be a level of trust, a serious level of trust together, going both ways, both directions. But the follow through usually is on the superintendent's side, because the superintendent usually brings most of the issues to the board. Sometimes the board doesn't even know that there's issues going on or events or what have you. So a lot of times the superintendent will bring it to the board, and then the board might give the superintendent directions, or the superintendent needs to follow back up with it. So it's basically, to sum it up, it's teamwork. It's supposed to work together and be collaborative. But bottom line, the board's position is the board usually hires and or hopefully not, but fires the superintendent when, obviously when necessary. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But that's the job. That's the board writes the superintendent's usually reviews. Superintendent can write their own contract. I've had both ways where the board wrote the superintendent's contract, and then other superintendents, the superintendent wrote the contract with them, and it was agreed or tweaked instead. But usually that's how it works, and with that understanding, and just follow up on what we had earlier this evening, with that in mind, that the board hires a superintendent, and then throughout the superintendent's contract, the board reviews the superintendent's contract every year. That's where they decide to make decisions in regards to pay or whatever's in the contract, comes with the contract. And that being said, that's probably where the public is kind of confused, because on your layout, on your website, it says that the board, your chart says the board and the superintendent are on the same line. So I can see how that would be confusing to the public. But in answer to your question, the superintendent definitely falls underneath the board's purview.
All right, substitute. Now it's time when you can choose
Yeah,
commercial
you can
break.
choose commercial.
You're good, choose commercial break.
Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about my youth, because I think that adds a lot to where I am today and what I think is important in public schools. I grew up in Westminster, Maryland, so just south of here. My husband is from Fairfield, so he grew up in Fairfield School. I lived on a farm in an area that was very fast becoming a suburb of Baltimore. So when I grew up, it was like I was watching fields just completely move through, and it's a strange situation. I actually started in one school district for kindergarten that was what at the time, if any of you know Francis Scott Key, is sometimes called Cornfield High, because it's out in the more rural part. So I started out on that side, and then I got flipped to the Westminster side. lot of different, I lived on a farm. I grew up with parents that hadn't gone to college. And it was tough. And back then, thank goodness we did not have social media. I actually don't know where I'd be today if we had social media back then. A lot of bullying, a lot of feeling not good enough, a lot of times when teachers did nothing. Called the B word in the hallway in middle school, teacher walks on by because they don't want to deal with that student. That is what I dealt with. And thankfully, my parents got me involved in some programs, one of which was 4-H, that helped me build my own confidence and my leadership skills and how I handle things today. And I can still go back to things I learned during that time of my life when I talk about the 25 years I spent in the corporate world. Each one of those things I learned built on other things to develop. I was a member of the marching band. I absolutely loved that. I started as a not very good, we called it silks back then, but it was the flags. I was not very good, but darned if I wasn't going to be captain of that when I was a senior. So I worked my butt off and I accomplished it. And that's fed a lot into my perspective on living. I've been Miss Carroll County 4-H for a year. I have attended Space Camp twice. And I have jumped out of a perfectly good plane.
Okay, she's off the list.
Only once. Once was enough.
Okay. Are you back on? Thank you. Mr. Perez, on question number 3.
No, I'm
first
perfect.
break. I'm all about parents. Okay, if the question, please, if I read it 2 times or something, let me know and I'll gladly read it again, or I'll have Nick read it in plain English. Explain how you would handle an individual complaint that is brought to you by a citizen.
Well, any one particular citizen, everybody has an opinion. Everybody has a special need that they want to see accomplished. One particular person with a complaint should be accepted, should be heard. I would specifically write it down to make sure that I get everything correct. Request confirmation from that person that I received his complaint properly. And then I would do a little bit of research to find out how true this complaint is, or how it rests with the rest of the community, instead of that one individual just bringing a particular request to get things changed or get things done, whatever accomplished, because there are a lot of people out there with a lot of different opinions, and therefore I could bring it to the board and see if anybody has a solution or understanding of that particular issue. But otherwise, I would just let the individual know that, yes, I've heard his complaint, I understand his issue, and I would get back to him and research it with the team. Thank you.
Mr. Ellis?
What was the question again?
Thank you. Explain how you would handle an individual complaint that is brought to you by a citizen.
Right, that's what I thought it was. Okay, so it's easy. You be a good listener, right? Have to be a good listener to the person. And then you share with them that you're one member on the board. There's lots of members on the board. And also you share with them that if they really have a true concern, that they should share their concern with the superintendent. Really, basically. I mean, it depends on what the complaint is, true, okay? If it's, I mean, it could be something silly like my kid fell off the merry-go-round at the park, you know, didn't get any attention, blah, blah, blah. Then maybe I would say, okay, maybe you should really talk to the principal at school and not go straight to the superintendent. So it depends on what the complaint or the concern, or whatever you're gonna call it, is, instead of just going straight to the top. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I would just clarify by saying it depends on the complaint.
I agree with what Ms. Dela said, that there's a big difference between types of complaints or concerns you can get. At the end of the day, the first thing I would go to is probably my compliance background jumping in here, and health insurance. is I would follow whatever protocol I've been trained on, which I would assume I will get, on how we accept those complaints, where we refer them. Do we refer them into the proper place and then, oh, well, here's where you go for that type of complaint? Do we take it straight to Dr. Mitchell? Do we bring it here? Obviously, depending on what the complaint is, and really in any case, there's privacy concerns on whether the person shared it with you. That doesn't mean they want you to share it with anyone else. But really, I lean to what is the appropriate protocol.
Thank you. Mr. Grimes, your commercial break.
Commercial break. Hi. I've been here in Littlestown for the past 23 years, and put 6 of my kids through the school here. I now have a foster child that I'm going to be putting in. I saw that when I was putting her in the system, I did see the need for the school board, so that's how I ended up seeing the